Hi, so I'm in between two nutcrackers and I'm giving answers for this interview in my car, believe it or not. So the first question is when did you start choreographing? I used to make up dances when I was about 8 years old in my neighborhood with kids and friends and my sister. And I would costume them and invite neighbors and charge money and have small shows. And I didn't realize that I had this tendency until college when I started to take choreography class. I went to the Boston Conservatory and I seriously started making dances. And I'm kind of a quiet person, and words don't come easy to me, so this was a way that I found that I could express my thoughts, ideas, and opinions, and I was content after the working process, and so realized quite quickly, I think it was freshman year, I did my first piece, that I would really enjoy pursuing this possibility. Um, The second question you ask is, do I continue to perform? And I don't perform now, not now. I started to become serious about directing my work in the early 90s. And during that time, I felt the need to step back from the stage so that I could really objectively observe the work that I was trying to create. So kind of understanding clearly if I was speaking the message that I wanted to do. And this was when I was making dances on my own. And I had a company. Prometheus started in 1989, pick up, and then within a couple of years we started. I became a nonprofit. I did that quite early because I was fortunate enough to know a lawyer, and at that time it didn't cost me anything to do that, and I exchanged teaching for rehearsal space, and I had always done that, and I was fortunate enough to be able to do that with at the Jeanette Neal Dance Studio, and also at the Dance Complex a little bit after. um, so I felt like I could make choices with a more objective eye, and I was also a young mother and a teacher as well, and it was really difficult to continue the training that I felt was necessary to be on stage and to be a performer. So I left it for a while. Um, Later on in my late 30s, I got back into the stage performing duets with Tommy Neblett, and this changed my life considerably in many ways. I learned that I had something to offer as a performer at that point, at a much deeper level than before. Um, I had age, I had experience, I could express the ideas that we wanted to express honestly. I had a need personally to take risks as an artist. I always have. As a choreographer, I always have. But I had the chance to do that as a performer at a point where I think all of the previous experience that I had as a choreographer with standing outside of the proscenium or whatever the performance space would be, that armed me. I learned from my dancers, and I learned from myself in all the years that I did not perform. The next question you ask is what choreographed work am I most proud of and why? And this is something that I co-choreographed with Tommy Nevlett, and it's Apocalypsis, and it was an evening length work in 2001. One, we started, maybe 2000 we started it. We performed it as a duet originally, and it was the duet that created the seeds for the bigger piece, the larger piece. And it took 2.5 years to create. Um, and it was inspired by the refugee crisis during the Kosovo War. And we were sort of upset by the situation, and if it was performed today, it would be as timely as it was at that time. And a lot of the piece came out similarly to the Holocaust as well. And so there were a lot of cross references about this work. We were really fortunate to get a National Endowment Grant and Boston Center for the Arts Spotlight on Dance residency, which gave us a lot of freedom, a lot of financing, and tech support. Really tech support. Anything we wanted was manifested, and that's a brilliant opportunity for any young choreographer to have. So we had the chance to collaborate with composer John Cusick, installation artist Beth Galston. We worked with 2 lighting designers. We worked with elder dancers, dancers from the community, dancers from the Boston Conservatory, and dancers from Emerson College. The whole cyclorama was our playground. It had hanging trees, it had trees on stands, it had leaves, it had fences, it had walls. It was just a giant performance space and a platform sort of floating in the middle where we danced. It had music, live music. It was a fun thing to create. We had a 2-week theater preparation for it, and then it ran for 2 weeks after that. We had already done the duet in Spain out in the street. It was a long process and a really worthy cause. It was amazing, and I'll never forget it, and I'm very grateful to have had the opportunity to do that. So the next question you ask is to name one dance maker that I admire and why. I admire many choreographers of different styles and genres, but I think right now my favorite choreographer is Crystal Pite, and I love her work, and her when she speaks, I'm just amazed. I'm blown away. She's driven, she's curious, her craft is solid, her language is exquisite. The content speaks to a collective conscious. It's so deep. It's so much so that it takes me some time to sort of like let it settle, and then it sits with me for months and months and months, and I never forget it, and it makes me cry. I love it. One piece of advice for young new choreographers out there, and the thing that I find the most important in my life, is to find creative process in your daily life. See work and creativity in everything you possibly can. I think that's important. And also, I know it's hard to be a creative artist in so many ways. You have to be able to deal with critique and rejection, personalities in the room, lack of financing, or maybe not if you're lucky. It takes a lot of resiliency, though. You have to really stick to it. That means you have to love it. And if there's a choice in the matter, it's possible that you can do something else that can be more financially solvent for you. But if it's something that you can't help but do, then you have to keep doing it. And you're doing the right thing, and you have to keep creating. And there's nothing better than a life filled with doing what you want and need and love to do. So keep dancing, everybody. All right. I hope this is okay. I know it's not a lot of light, but if it doesn't work out for you, let me know, okay? Lots of love and light. Bye.